So here I have the circuit for this strange toy that I bought at Target. And the first thing that I do is usually open it up. I pull off all of the hot glue that's usually covering everything, protective casing. Like you can see some of it still here covering this battery thing. I don't need to pull it off of there because there's breakouts on the circuit board itself. Um, usually the first thing I do is actually use my hands to find some interesting bend points. So here is the switch that makes it make sound. And if I touch here with these two resistors, right away that tells me that that's an interesting spot that I need to explore. What I then use is a potentiometer, 1 meg potentiometer, with some alligator clips and some leads. And then I start further exploring those points. I'm actually going to use my drawing here that I make. So I also generally make a drawing of the circuit, just so that I can map out like what's going on. And right here is one interesting bend point, so that is the first one. I haven't found anything else too interesting yet, just so far that timing one. And so far, if I put it to ground, that slows it down or speeds it up, and if I put it to the positive voltage over here, that slows it down substantially. I don't currently have a tripod for my phone, so I can't really take a video of it, but once I solder everything to those points, I'll further explore it. So I'm going to end up soldering something to the first bend point, to ground, and to positive. And I usually use 30 gauge Kynar wire, which is wire wrap wire. It's really small, really thin, and you can kind of see against my finger. Like, I barely pull the tip off of this thing. I don't want too much exposure. And then I have a pretty lengthy bit of wire. This one's going to end up going to positive. I keep it color-coded. Red, positive, black, ground, and then blue or green for the any of the interesting points. I actually have around 20-something colors for this. So I'm going to continue bending this, but yeah, I just wanted to show my first steps for anytime I'm doing anything. I'm going to further explore this later with additional stuff, but just mapping this out with my multimeter, doing touch contacts to see and like seeing where the traces all go and everything like that. That's where this map has come from. I also mapped out the polarity of the speakers already because I know I'm definitely going to be wanting to break that out a little bit later. So yeah, that's it so far. And I'll keep doing this, and we'll see where it ends up. Alright, so I've been exploring this toy quite a bit more. And what I have here is a 1 meg potentiometer with a 1 meg linear potentiometer with some alligator clips connected to the wires. So I've soldered a Kynar wire to the ground here on this edge, soldered a wire to the positive. Actually, I'll use the drawing. So soldered a wire to the positive voltage, to the negative voltage, and then to the interesting bend point 1. And I color coded like I was saying, so black is ground, red is positive, and blue is the signal. So the yellow wire here is connected, and I actually have a 22K resistor in series with the ground and a 22K resistor in series with the positive. And the reason why I do that is usually I tune the toy because I want the toy to work regardless. Whenever you push the button, it makes a sound. So I usually start with a 1 meg potentiometer first, kind of find some interesting points, remove the potentiometer, measure those points. Then if it's significant enough, then I'll drop it down to 500K. And then if that's significant enough, then I'll drop it down to 100K. And continue going further and further. So I didn't write down the 1 meg values, but I wrote down the 500K values. So I found that positive was 57K and negative was 39.4. And then when I dropped down to the 100K, that allowed me to finer tune it quite a bit more. And I found that plus or minus 24K ohms gave me like the points where if you go below 24k resistance total, then the toy won't start up on either end of it. So I don't have 24k resistors, but I do have 22k, which is why I'm using them. That does still leave a crash zone for the toy, but that's okay. It's within acceptable bounds. And it also makes this quite nice touch sensitive as well. So yeah, I'm just going to push the button and turn the knob. So yep. So basically, I've set it so that counterclockwise is slow down and clockwise is speed up. That just makes sense to me. You should do whatever you think is logical. And these three respond so well to touch that I'm also going to absolutely put a touch contact between touch contact for each of the points. So far, that's the only interesting bend point that I found, but it is absolute timing control, which is fantastic. I'm guessing that there's a voltage drop. I haven't actually tested that out yet. But yeah, voltage drop would add additional complexities to the sound. I'm also most likely going to put a transistor here to basically build an external circuit like with a 555 and a transistor to be able to remotely press this button. So the thing is even when it's really slow, no matter how quickly I push that button, it continues to go. And so with a 555 timer triggering a transistor to push this button instead of me manually pushing it, you can have sort of like a automatic playback with the button pushes, and that should be fine. It'll have like a pseudo synthesizer sound. But yeah, that's it. This is a fantastic, yeah, fare thee well. I've heard that a lot tonight. It's just a fantastic toy, really responsive to timing changes and things like that. And it's also really creepy, which is something that's great for me. Next thing I'm going to do is probably put a photoresistor in series with some of this and like see how well it does with photoresistor as well. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of fun.